In less than 24 hours to the Kogi, Bayelsa and Imo elections, Yaiga Africa gave observations and recommendations to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), noting that INEC needed to restore its public confidence. Among the observations made was low voter turnout and late deployment of elections materials. Member of the Yaiga Africa Working Group, Nwago, stated this during a pre-election press conference in Abuja.
The commitment of key democratic institutions such as the Independent National Electoral Commission, security agencies, and the executive to restoring public confidence in the electoral process will be tested again in Saturday's polls. As the pre-election climate in this state suggests, they are high-stake elections with the potential for violence. Nigerians in these three states desire a safe environment to cast their ballot without violence, suppression, or intimidation. As these voters proceed to the polls, they expect timely deployment of election materials, early commencement of accreditation and voting, and transparent counting and collation of results to ensure the outcome reflects the will of the people. First is the low voter turnout projections. According to INEC, the number of permanent voters card PVCs collected in Bayelsa is 1,017,1.07613, Imo 2.318919, and in Kogi 1.833160. Despite these high collection rates, Yaiga Africa projects low voter turnout in the respective states owing to the spate of pre-election violence. Yaiga Africa knows INEC's deployment of sensitive and non-sensitive election materials to the local government areas in the three states. While this projects a positive outlook, Yaiga Africa calls on INEC to ensure proper coordination and communication with the transport companies' unions, providing logistics support to ensure early deployment of materials and personnel to polling units on election day.
Stakeholders called on collaboration between INEC and security agencies in volatile states.
Yaiga Africa expresses concern with the unassailable level of insecurity and the spate of violence across the states, especially in Imo and Kogi states. The lack of accountability for the fatalities and attacks recorded in the pre-election period deepens the culture of impunity pervading the electoral process. Yaiga Africa states emphatically that the successful administration of a peaceful and transparent election is dependent on the effective collaboration and coordination with respective institutions like the Independent National Electoral Commission, the Nigerian Police, and other security agencies. For instance, INEC requires adequate security protection to deploy materials to some highly volatile local government areas in Imo State that are prone to violence. And these are Oguta, Osu, or low LGAs, among others. Improved security deployment in volatile areas will enable voters, election observers, and media practitioners in particular to participate in the election across the three states.
Our recommendations ahead of the elections. Number one, INEC should ensure the operational shortcomings in previous elections are properly addressed ahead of the elections, especially with respect to the early deployment of election materials to all polling units. This is particularly important because Bayelsa elections in 2019, we had some polling units that did not even receive elections materials. And our data showed that about 24% of our sampled polling units in Bayelsa last elections did not receive their materials. And so for this election, this is important, and we hope that in these three states, that early deployments and availability of materials are present across all polling units in these states. Number two, collation and returning officers deployed in the election should be individuals of proven integrity and impeccable character. INEC should ensure effective oversight to enforce compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 and guidelines on result collation. Number three, INEC